It all started with an idea. The Legion of Superheroes was a superhero team that operated in the 30th century. Ideally, to convince kids who were reading the title that everything was hunky dory, there shouldn't have been any societal issues like racism and classism, and everybody would get along. Except this book was written in the 20th century, when the fear of losing distribution in the South was a major reason why even a masked superhero like Pharaoh Lad couldn't be revealed to be black. So the entire 30th century continued to look like a white man's paradise. But eventually, someone higher up at DC probably went, you know what? We should probably have black people in 30th century too. Unfortunately, they went about it in the worst way possible. And this is from the company whose first black superhero to get a solo series was initially going to be a white racist. No, I am not kidding. I am never kidding about the ludicrous history of the comic book industry. On an isolated island called Marzal, that only existed in the same dimension as the rest of the world every now and then, which was populated by isolationists with advanced tech, later retconned to be the descendants of African slaves. It's almost as if someone looked at Black Panther's origin and decided to copy it, but got bored and stopped midway. So, yeah, all the black people in the 30th century lived on a separate island from the white people where they wouldn't have to think about them. I don't even have a joke here. This is some of the most racist stuff DC has ever put out. Essentially, to make sure that they didn't lose the money of the bigots who bought their comics, they made sure that the story that would introduce the first black hero of the Legion also was a segregationist's dream. That last part is from a direct quote from artist Mike Grell, who had been instructed to create the character Tyroc. Yes, the hero who was going to join the Legion was named Tyroc. Well, where does he fit in among all this? Tyroc was a superpowered resident of Marzal who thought he could pull off that outfit. More on that later. While he clashed with a bunch of legionnaires who had come to Marzal, he parted with them on relatively good terms. He didn't actually join them, though, in that issue. Later on, when DC realized that non-bigoted money was just as green, they eventually had him join the Legion. This lasted for exactly 4 years, 1976 to 1980 if you want to be exact, before Tyroc was shunted off to limbo with the rest of his horribly racist concept. During the 5 years later saga of the Legion, the Dominators would destroy Marzal, but Tyroc would survive and help defeat them. This would lead to him becoming vice president and later president of the newly established government. After this era of the Legion got rebooted, Tyroc would pop up in the next decade as a bunch of cameos, but never as a canon character. This would change with Jeff Johns' Retro Boot Legion, which brought back the original continuity of the Legion before the 5YL stuff, bringing back Tyroc along with it. Tyroc has a less ridiculous outfit now, and once the New 52 rolled over, he was part of the series Legion Lost, which was about a bunch of Legionnaires stuck in the past. Once that was cancelled and the Retro Boot Legion got rebooted again, that was kind of it for Tyroc, and with the Legion of Superheroes not having the sway it clearly once had, judging from the fact that the Bendis boot lasted for less than 3 years, I don't see any new appearances for him in the upcoming future. Now, initially, Tyroc's costume doesn't look that different from what was expected of a black superhero at the time. And that's the problem. The setting was not in the 20th century. It was in the far future, giving a seriously off vibe that this was what black characters were always supposed to be. And not even the guy who designed him liked it. As Mike Grell himself said, I gave him a silly costume. It was somewhere between Elvis's Las Vegas costume and something you would imagine a pimp on the street corner wearing. Tyroc would get 2 separate costumes later, although if it wasn't for his powers, I couldn't have told you it was him. Oh yeah, I haven't talked about Tyroc's powers, have I? Tyroc actually had a pretty cool power, being able to alter reality. But the way he did it was one of the most bizarre forms of reality alterations I have ever seen. And I've seen Flex Mentallo. He altered reality by screaming in different ways. This included Arrgh, for a force field. Arrgh, for manipulating the weather. Arrgh, to create explosions. To induce vertigo. To induce pyrokinesis. To manipulate plants. To teleport. To manipulate the wind. To transmute matter. Whee! Retrocognition. Zrrrg, for telekinesis. I will not add anything else to that, except a thought. Do you think a white guy would have been given these powers and be expected to be taken seriously at the time? That is a stupid question, because yes, of course they could have. There's a 2-part essay about Tyroc and his impact pre-crisis that I'll leave in the description for you to check out, and I highly recommend it. It's in a lot more detail. After reading it, it is extremely difficult to not see how poorly everybody handled writing a black character. Even Mike Grell's middle finger probably did more harm than good by firmly linking the character to black stereotypes. Jim Shooter, who was the one who attempted to reveal that Pharaoh Lad was black back when he was a teenager, did not like it one bit, saying, I always wanted to have a character who was African American, and years later, when they did that, they did it in the worst way possible. Instead of just incidentally having a character who happens to be black, they made a big fuss about it. He's a racial separatist. I just found it pathetic and appalling. Could Tyroc work now? Maybe, but why would anyone want to? He was created as a parody of black characters? To what end? To show that they were okay with black people appearing in their books, and yet had so much trouble fathoming what a black character would be like, they end up creating a racial separatist in a ridiculous outfit who would scream to change reality? So no, unless someone really wants to redeem Tyroc as part of their personal mission, I don't see any way he would work now. And with the Legion itself slowly losing relevance with each passing year, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.